I'm going to talk about searching for periodicals. Periodicals are things like magazines, newspapers, and journals, things that are published at a periodic rate, so that maybe that's every week or every month or every day, whatever, but it's on a regular schedule. To find articles in periodicals, we need to look in a database. That's a collection of information. In this case, information about periodical articles. It's one thing to know if our library, and therefore you, have access rights to a magazine, such as Time or Newsweek, but it's rather another step to know what articles are included in each issue. That's where we go to an online database. Periodical databases have been around for a very long time, way before computers. We called them indexes. It used to be that they were printed and sent to us in the mail. These companies would compile information about magazines or journals, then sell the information to libraries. This is what they did. This is their business, and it still is. They take information about articles and they compile it together in one spot. For example, all those Newsweek articles, they index them, tell you what they're all about, and they would print a handout about that, a little booklet, and we would get those in the mail on a regular basis, and we would be able to look at them. And if someone came in and wanted an article about wolves, for example, we could go to the index, look up wolves, and then it would tell you what magazines had recently printed articles about that, and you would have to go to the shelf and find the issue in the magazine. As time went on, rather than print up an index in paper and mail it to us, they put them on a CD-ROM and mailed that to us. We could put it in the computer and it was the same idea. You could say, want an article about wolves, and you could search the CD-ROM electronically. That was very exciting. And find which articles recently were published about wolves. Mostly you would then still have to go to the shelf and find the magazine in print. Now we are taking a step further, using the World Wide Web over the internet to the company's computers, so that all this information that they are compiling together and we're accessing it, this is information that we're paying for. We're using the internet to connect our computers to their computers, but this is still not free stuff. Just like they don't send us Newsweek for free to put on the shelf, we have to pay them to do that. We have to pay these companies to put all that information together, and they make it searchable. They add another component. Not only will they tell you, go to the June 17th issue of Newsweek to find your article about wolves, now a lot of time they actually provide you with the article right there on the computer, the full text of the article. That seems pretty common now, we're used to that, but believe me, it was an amazing revolution when this happened. These database companies have to pay the publishers of the magazines to provide that full text article, so that is why not everything is full text. A lot is, but it will depend on the agreement between the different parties, the publisher and the database company. Follow the money. How much are they paying to have that full text? That's if it's there or not. As you see, it's evolved over time back from when they mailed us a little booklet of article information to now we can point and click and search and then get the whole article. Of course, what we do now gives us a lot more flexibility. Students can use these databases from home. You don't have to be on campus. There's day or night. The library doesn't have to be open. There's all kinds of additional features. There are a few different ways to access the databases from the GHC Library website. One quick way is the quick search on the library's front page. You can choose articles from the drop-down list. This is covered in another video. So we're going to look at the databases individually now. To view the whole list of databases we subscribe to, go to the Search and Find tab, mouse over to see the choices. All sources, so this is going to be everything arranged in one big list. That's where we are going to look. But I want you to note the option Databases listed by subject. You can go here if you want to narrow down what you're looking for. I've taken that same list of all sources, but just kind of categorized it. Like these are the ones that are good for business, these are the ones that are good for nursing, etc. But we are going to look at the all sources option. This gives you a look at the whole list of everything that the library subscribes to. Again, as I mentioned before, these are things we pay for. It's a subscription, so it's not just free stuff. This list is arranged alphabetically by the name of the database, and it has a brief description of each of the different databases so you can get an idea of what one is about. Sometimes the names aren't very obvious, but sometimes the name itself will describe what it's about. Like this first one, ABI Inform Trade and Industry. The title gives you a little bit of a description. It has magazines about trade and industry, construction, marketing, manufacturing, finance, etc. Different types of industry, things like that. So we have a whole variety, some specialty like ABI Inform, and some general purpose like the second one, Academic Search Complete. This is a good one for pretty much anything we teach on our campus. Covers a range of subjects from business to psychology to art. It's really useful for most classes. It's one of our main starting points. But then again, we also have some specialty thing like the next one, America's Newspapers. Fairly descriptive, America's Newspapers. This is just what it says, newspapers and newswires like the AP and stuff like that. You're not going to find scholarly articles there. You're just going to find newspapers, so it's great for current events and news from around the country. Artemis Literary Sources. Artemis is our biggest literature search. This includes poetry criticism, short story criticisms, contemporary authors, contemporary literary criticism, other online resources for primary and secondary literature information. If you're researching a poem, a play, an author, a writer, anything like that, that's your place to go. Art Store. This is a collection of digital images from art collections all around the world. Different galleries, museums, private collections, all kinds of things have been digitized, high quality digital images. If you're looking for a piece of art because you're doing art research, or even if you want to use an image in a paper or a presentation, this is an excellent place to search. Auto Repair Reference Center. Automotive information, just like it sounds. You can search for your vehicle and by year and make and all of those things, and then find repair information, wiring diagrams, instructions on how to do repairs. Even if you're not in our automotive program, they do use it, but even if you're not there, you might want to use this. Remember, these are available even from home, from off campus. So if it's the weekend and library is closed and you're doing a little work on your car, feel free to hop right in there and look up some information. Big Chalk's e-library. This is another general purpose database. It's not as broad ranging as Academic Search Complete, but it's another good starting point. They also include some kind of different resources like TV and radio transcripts, things from NPR, stuff like that. So things that you're not necessarily used to seeing written. You're used to hearing or seeing, but they have transcripts of them. So it's an interesting place to look for that. Business Source Premier is obviously a business database. It covers business topics like marketing, management, accounting, finance, all that type of business research. Credo Reference. This is a reference database. Reference books online. Now we've talked previously about what are reference books. What kinds of things does that include? This is one of our online reference sources. It is an electronic versions of print reference books. There are over 500 reference resources included in this one database. Remember, reference books are good for getting an overview of a topic and finding starting points and good keywords. Criminal justice periodicals. Pretty self-explanatory, criminal justice. So if you're doing anything research related to corrections administration, police work, crime reports, this is a good database for that. Half the battle in finding the right information is using the right tool. You certainly wouldn't want to look in criminal justice periodicals for something about art, or look in Business Source if you're looking for nursing information. Those are fairly obvious, but you want to pick the right tool for the right job, so it's important to know what your options are. People tend to go back to the same database that they're used to using again and again, which is great because then you get really comfortable with using it. You get used to all the features, but sometimes you really need to remember that there might be something that's more appropriate as you change topics over the years. You're not always going to be researching the same topic, so you may need to look for something more specialized and branch out a little bit. The next one on the list is Culturegrams. This has up-to-date cultural information about over 200 countries. It also has a component that's the US states and a Canadian province section. eBook Central. This is our ebook collection of over 120,000 electronic books. These cover a whole range of topics. Anything that we might be teaching here was probably found there. You can read them online or download to your computer if you want to read them offline. ERIC. ERIC is an education database. If you're looking for anything about education, charter schools, classroom behavior techniques, standardized testing, anything related to education or being a teacher, this is your place to go. It's from the Department of Education. Films on Demand. This is our online streaming video service. These are videos you can watch anytime, day or night, from on or off campus. Over 20,000 educational programs on a wide range of topics: business, economics, health sciences, humanities, social sciences, whole range. It's a really great source for accessing a lot of different videos. And again, day or night, on or off campus. Gale Virtual Reference Library. This is another reference book database. It's not as large as Credo Reference that I mentioned before. It doesn't have as many things in it, but there is a different selection here, so it's also a good place to look for your topic for overviews. Granger's World of Poetry. This is a poetry database. It's really handy if you're researching poetry or poets. They also have audio for a lot of the poems, so someone actually reading the poem, which is really nice for poetry, and sometimes it's even the poet themselves reading it. It's a pretty focused resource, but excellent for what it does. Greenfile. This is an environmental database focusing on the human impact on the environment. So topics like pollution, global climate change, and so forth are great to start researching here. Nursing and Allied Health Source. This is a nursing database, as is obvious from the title. I send our nursing students here to find information about any issues concerning nursing. It's not just medical perspective, but really more particular to nurses. So that's a little bit of a different perspective than, say, like a doctor or another healthcare provider. So it's a really nursing specific perspective. And there are also training videos in this database for nursing topics. Opposing Viewpoints in Context. This is the Opposing Viewpoints database based on the series of books. If you've ever used those, you may have heard of them. They're also really great for social issues, hot topics, and controversial things where there's a pro and con on a different topic. They have viewpoint essays, topic overviews, primary sources, biographies, all kinds of things in there. You can also browse for topic ideas if you're trying to brainstorm, you're not sure yet what to pick. They do have a browse for topics. Oxford Music Online. This is our music database. It includes Grove Music Online, the Oxford Companion to Music, and the Oxford Dictionary of Music. Between these, there are tens of thousands of articles related to all aspects of music. Points of View Reference Center. This is another viewpoint database from a different company. They have a different approach and different perspective on topics. You can also browse for topics here. ProQuest Research Library. This is our other general purpose database. When someone asks me where to look, the two things I always ask people: did you look in ProQuest Research Library? Did you look in Academic Search Complete? These are the two starting points. They cover, these are our utility players. They cover everything. PubMed. This is a medical database from the National Library of Medicine. Science Direct. Health, Life, Social, and Behavioral Sciences. Again, this is great for nursing, but also life sciences like biology, natural resources, fisheries. And there's the social and behavioral sciences in here: sociology, psychology, human services, social work. All of these topics are really good in Science Direct. Anything along those lines. This database is all scholarly information, so that is good to remember. If you are looking for something that is peer-reviewed or scholarly in any of those topic areas, Science Direct is an excellent place to go search. SIRS Knowledge Source. SIRS is a social issues database. Search here for anything that can be considered a social issue. For example, homelessness, poverty, the environment, identity theft. Even education is considered a social issue. You can browse for topic ideas, and they have many topic pages with overviews and resources already selected for you. Each of the topic pages also has a link to a research guide, which is a downloadable form that will help you organize your ideas and shape your topic. It's really useful and can help you outline your resources and your argument on a topic. Testing and Education Reference Center. Included here are practice tests and study resources for a lot of different standardized tests. It ranges from GED and NCLEX to corrections officer testing and SATs to U.S. citizenship and ASVAB. A whole bunch of resources for both studying and preparing for those tests and then practice tests themselves. U.S. Major Dailies. These are newspapers, daily newspapers. This covers the biggest influential national newspapers like New York Times, Washington Post, things like that. They have some exclusive content in there, I believe, from the Los Angeles Times as well. So there's kind of the major U.S. newspapers are in that database. U.S. West News Stream. This is regional newspapers and news sites from Alaska, California, Hawaii, Idaho, Nevada, Oregon, Utah, and Washington. This can be helpful if you want sort of a regional perspective or a local perspective on a topic. This is the Western U.S. news sources. Voice, the Career Information System. If you are unsure what you want to do for a career, this is such an excellent way to explore. Besides looking up a job and finding out the expectations, requirements, job outlook, you can also take assessments to help you find the right career for you. I can't stress enough how useful and helpful this database can be. So that's the list of databases. Again, this is an alphabetical list, as I mentioned, but we also have it arranged by subject. If you click on the search by subject, we've broken them down into broad areas. There is a lot of overlap between these categories because things like Academic Search Complete, everybody should look in. So it's listed all over the place. But this is kind of my recommendations on where you should start for different topic areas. And that way, if you are doing something that's kind of focused like that, you can weed out some of the stuff that you don't need to look at. If you're in a speech class, there's databases that I suggest for that, or human services, etc. There's a whole list there. Always possible that you need to branch out depending on exactly what your topic is, but this is a good way to sort by subject if you're trying to narrow it down. That's the overview of our databases. The next video will demonstrate using a few of these databases.